I want to
Wait.
show you something.
Oh,
Okay, I want to show you something.
the screen share.
Mm, yeah, I just want to show you.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sharing this. Why is this thing working? For a second. Mm, mm. Why is not yet not green?
Just
It's not
align.
green. It's not. So this actually that's the head of oof, that's the head of this person, of the purple person.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to show, but let's see when
It's
it changes.
it's basically like circling, but you just see it
Yeah,
from
but
the
actually, I'm not
plane.
using. Maybe we can just do that for a second here. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not. I'm just you. This is part actually is coming from reading this text. Like, I think big part of the problem of data representation. I mean, when we talk about body, is that there's so many possible values, and if you think like now, the capture systems are better. You can have even more. So, like for instance, like from this thing, I can just choose an humongous amount of data.
Right.
And so it was part of coming from there. Then so I just choose one join, which is the head.
Mm.
But then I was choosing just to use the X and Y position. That's why it's just
Okay.
going X in the X position and the Y. And because it's the head is not going down until I know, for instance, in some part of the dance, they start falling, and then you can see. You see
Mm.
when now they're moving the head more down, so then
Yeah.
you see more like the head down, and when it goes into the through this into the so if I use the X axis, this one, if I use the set position, yeah, then I start doing something. Then you can see actually more
Mm.
mapped to
In 3D.
in 3D, yeah. And this is more clear, I guess, when they work.
Mm.
And then the other thing I was start thinking, it was like doing the average of this. Like, so this is what it happens now. No, this is the X, Y, and Z position of the head
Right.
of the purple dancer, and in real time. So what I was thinking, and I have it somewhere here, is to have the average of that motion. I mean, of that joint during time. You see what I
Average in
mean?
time.
The average in time of the X,
Okay.
Y, and Z position. And then again, you start seeing and then seeing next to each other. And then basically what it happens is like in a way smooths a lot the curve. Uh, well, yeah, but so this is kind of like the kind of madness that I am right now. So like, um, but I think so. We wanted to talk with Naoto about what we did want to talk. What we want to talk about.
What? Oh, about Ellen's project, maybe?
About there was the so there was some text about motion capture, right?
Yeah, I mean it's more about the performance itself, I think. Telematic
Tele-
performance back in 2011 from Ellen Perlman. She's based in New York. And back then, I think she was doing this in Calgary, I think, when she was studying in Canada. And she was collaborating with a university in Hong Kong and New Zealand, maybe. And they were doing some kind of like remote telematic, like network connected performance. that the dancers are in Hong Kong and the motion capture, like their movements are captured, motion capture, and this video screen in Canada that's affected by the movements, and the musicians are in New Zealand.
Yeah, but like what I think was interesting is that it's something that it was really long time ago. Greeting, I mean, in terms of technology, is like 10 years is like really long time ago. Really long time ago. It was funny that she was using VDMX.
True.
And but some of the concepts that I mean, I really like that text that you give him, because all these papers that I received from Daniel, that is one of the research, external researcher of Motion Bank. He's a PhD, I don't know in what, so it's really into more scientific approach, and it's really comes down really into a very heavy scientific paper. Like a lot of his resources that in three-dimensional space, and talking about a lot of things that I don't know, and also I do not know, so it's not my interest. No. But what I think it was relevant from this in her paper, the one that you sent me, is that I think there was like the problem that she was like she refers like one of the things that she was mentioning is like the amount of data. Uh, uh, she refers like somehow like to choosing like that the problem of the representation of the body in through data, so in through computer systems, it has to deal a lot with the limitations of the systems, and also because she use a lot the word telematics, no? So like the networks. It sounds super old school, this word like telematics, like back in time, like. But what I'm trying to say is like something that I really keeps, and I'm trying to, I don't know where it's in my head, but it's trying to formulate something. It's about the problem with this thing is in terms of like making something has to be with variables. Like how to limit the variables, like which variable do you choose?
Right.
Yeah, I don't know, what do you think about this? Like,
yeah,
when
I
you
think
think of
that's like this. She specifically writes about data mapping from the motion capture to events triggered in video. And I think that's really just a very smart way of doing it. It's very simple. Like basically, I think there's some triggers. Like if I don't know, the arm or the leg exceeds some threshold, which is the point of the head or something like that, and then that triggers some glitches in the video. And that's just like very simple way of doing gesture recognition, but it really works well because the piece is choreographed. So you know when this happens, but not that in a way that it's scripted, but the dancers can trigger these effects through the choreographed movements. And it's quite similar to what you're doing now with the piece effect, because you know what the piece is about, so you can work on certain aspects of it rather than working with the whole body.
Yeah, and now actually I found a way how to, like, this is a side thing, is because I have all this data, like, and sometimes I just want to use something, is that so now I found a way how to record and extract part of this data with those designer. So I can record the data and then bring it back. But the thing is that then I get into more I mean, say that I record part of this data, right? And so this is like this, and then I record just this because there are just some parts that I want to, for me, work. Like the values that I get are more interesting than the whole piece, right? So then and also the computer is way cheaper for the computer. If I just play a file, then just keep the computer listening for 80 points coming through OSC, is way cheaper. because that software, the effect data player is quite heavy. So anyway, so I found a way how to take a chunk, but then when I put it back, somehow, then so it does, but it has to, now they have a problem with resampling basically and interpolation, which is somehow I took a chunk which is based on, maybe I'm just gonna share like the things easy if I just share what I did. So I use something that is like it's called like Trails in this system, Touch Designer. There is a modular programming interface, and these Trails allow to record. So this will record based on the, so it comes the data. This is the OSC. So this is what it comes from here. It comes here. Then I select just the head, and I do something, and then the trails. Here's what I can record, and then when I reset, this is the length. How long do I want to do that? So if I want to keep it for, I don't know, for a minute, then it's 60 seconds, and then the line will keep on going for 60 seconds. And then I just save it as some save channels as some exporting type. The problem is when I resample, when I put the file back, it will not do the playback of the data in the same sample rate. In simple is that the data that I record, it will not be played like that, but it will have a different speed, in short. And that just opened a lot of like basically audio manipulation in this case with this software, because it's about understanding the sample rate, resampling, interpolation, and things that you can, if you can just keep on going in a black hole, that it might not be necessary. That's what I was trying to say. I was mentioning that because what I think is interesting from, maybe I put this of the paper of hers, is like the way how she made it is that she make a triangle between, she choose the head, so she choose 3 points, 6 points per dancer. She choose the shoulder, the wrist, and the feet. Then, and in each size. Then basically she has a mesh, right? She has a mesh between these points constantly changing. That's what she gets. And that was very clever, because then in a way it has something that it changes, because this will change abrupt, like very drastic. Like in this case, for instance, in my case, if you see my data, because the head is not changing that much in the y-axis, I don't have so much of this effect. And I think that was very clever from her, like how she choose these values, and also what you were mentioning, that there are these triggers that only when it passes a certain threshold, then the animation will be triggered. So like I'm saying all these things because I think we speak here a lot about is a variable. Like how is about the variables. Which are the variables that you want to choose? What? And then, because in a way, like I'm kind of like I'm kind of sometimes getting lost in a loop of information where, like, you know, every time you will try to do something, there will be another problem and another and another and another. But I think could it help me to think more about the variables that I need, like in terms of what I'm trying to do. Like think more in an abstract way, like in a programming point of view, like something that is more abstract.
Okay. Like not conceptual.
That's interesting. So, because can you give us in short like what is like an abstract thinking in programming? What do you think in an abstract class is a class that can take many forms, right?
Oh, like abstract class, yes. But it's also that it's not concrete. You cannot use it because it's abstract.
No,
So you
no,
have
you
to
have to
add another layer
reuse
to
it.
use it.
Yeah, but it's something that is kind of work if you, like as a constructor, like you have it, you use it, and then you put. So, but like in a way, then you have this as abstraction that it has variables that become parameters after it. Like if
Okay.
these variables without the parameters, that they cannot be used, right? They're just an abstract class cannot work without the implementation,
Right.
right? So those parameters are they have to be concrete. They cannot be abstract. They have to take some shape, right?
But you were talking about the class, or you're talking about what you're doing? Sorry, I'm a bit lost.
I think I'm mixing here. I don't know. I think I'm a bit confused. Like, I mean, there are different things that I'm thinking. Like, for instance, like I think that one of the main problems that you have of the thing that is in front of your face when you're trying to represent the body, or you're trying to do like data visualizations from the body, is that you have this roughness of the space, the dimensionality that you enter, a part of the embodied thing, a part of all the embodied things that comes from being human and having a body, all the embodiments, all what it means to have a body. Just the physical thing of your body being represented in another dimension.
Right.
That's what the whole problem is with 3D graphics, or in my understanding of my appreciation is always like, and we have like sometimes I talk about Flor, for instance, when she Flor, I see when she was doing, or she works in a two-dimensional space trying to make in 3D things, then the problem becomes for me as a viewer, then the space is very full of things that I don't understand. So like what I'm trying to say, like in a three-dimensional space, like it's kind of like you need to understand what is going on.
Yeah. Like, I don't know if it's what you're talking about, but basically we have this 3D space in the computer in a way that we can render, but it's not related to how the space is in our real life in a way. I mean, it's the same idea, but you have different politics.
Yeah, but and actually, because this is what I think, what I will say, like there are politics that I'm not trying to bring in the conversation today. This is more about like we talk more like that's what we do in the best practices is like we deal with politics basically, in a very clever way, I think, because we just practice. But anyway, I think what we speak here about is that. So when I will say like politics slash embodiment, yeah, all this thing that is about embodiment and what it means to be a human with a body, you can bring there, and in part of the text she will mention, which I think is very clever, she mentioned about cultural gestures. That's something that I have in my notes, like, because those are from a theatrical point of view, when you're thinking composition, also you will think, Olivia, my friend from Brazil, also she mentioned that like these cultural gestures, things that are in one culture mean something in other place, and those are cue points that people normally will like constantly. You as a human, you try to, when you go to a new place, you are comparing constantly, right? Because these are just your gestures. That's what we do. So one of these so but what I was saying, oh, I get lost, man.
The
What I was saying?
spaces.
I get lost. Hmm.
So yeah, we have the representation on the computer. We have embodiment, or the real space, real thing. And you said about the cultural gestures, which, so you can think on inside the 3D space, 3D grid, you have different kind of gesture in there. Is that what you
And
want
I
to
think
say?
yeah, I think it somehow, yeah. But I think somehow it has to be related. How, like, somehow with gestures in an abstract way,
Hmm.
empalm with variables. How you can make the empalming of um, a gesture. How some, yeah,
But it's also
yeah,
related
and
to like what people are saying at choreographic coding labs in the past. This keyword that always comes back. What is it? Trackable quality. Because the idea is, I mean, it's kind of abstract idea that what kind of quality you can capture through motion tracking, or it's not even that like concrete. It's just like people talk about the different words that are very abstract, and I don't know where this is leading to. um, I can find some notes, but I don't know if I
bars to gestures. Yes, and I'm thinking that what you said, this is the last time, like Florian at some point when he was giving some feedback, basically because I just make some things, like also I send you some of these things. He was asking me like, okay, but so why? So like, why,
Mm.
like why are you doing this? Um, and then at some point he was saying, like, he talked about the affordance, and then I have to thought of you. He said, what is affordance? He was giving me some feedback and said like, okay, so I want you to think of this, like, okay, so think from where it comes from, like, so think a bit more of why are you do this,
Mm.
with the why are you do this, also because the work tool based, um in the and I think now there's more like my experience without being yet in motion bank in mind now, is that they have this, they're making tools that they have to be practical. So one of the feedback that I got from Florian is like, I put fast like effects kind of thing sometimes with the things that I was showing, and that's something that he said like that's something that we were doing in the past somehow,
Mm.
but I think like now they're trying to focus on something that is more practical. Uh,
Okay.
but it's in any way like it's open. No, he said like it's open. Like you don't have to do it in this way. You just have to think about it.
Mm.
So, but yeah. So what he was saying basically, think of what you're doing from where it comes from. This that you're doing, and what can this. And so after you finish, after you present something, what you think you can think in what this that you present can, what is the affordance of these things, like if
Mm.
I, so for instance, if I just do I present like just a tracking system, like what I was showing you was a tracking system basically, um then what is the affordance of that system. Maybe you can be, can you maybe dip in a bit more in this idea of affordance. What is affordance?
Affordance. But like when you say it, like, is it for other people, other, for example, like very practical, but other
Like,
dancers can benefit for like their rehearsing, for example,
I don't, to
with
be honest,
your
like
trackings?
that's the first time I heard like the word affordance was with you.
Yeah,
And
but what was that? Because of the installation we were making, maybe.
no, yes, actually, yes, it was
I
when
think,
we
yeah,
started
it's like a,
in the
I think it's really
beginning.
close
Yeah.
to the like the way we use agency. Like, I think I already talked about this example, but basically like the door handle, like it's a good example of affordance because you know how to use it. Basically, if you see it like if it's like a vertical bar, then you know that if you either you push it or pull it. But if it's like a handle that you can twist, then you will twist and then push it or pull it. So the form
Then
itself,
there is an implicit already in the object, like it's implicit
yeah.
more or less before even you go there. Then this is something that like it just makes a quote mark. Like when we were thinking about the installation, please don't let me go too deep into that. But like, one of the very interesting comments from class, the boss, he was saying that to think actually in that like in terms of the installation, and then I was telling you what are the camera, how to create it, I guess in a way affordance, like that in a way that already you are putting the position in the people in certain position that already you have already some, you can expect something more than the people just being anywhere in the space,
like a staging,
by suggesting affordance, I guess, or by
could be.
designing.
Yeah, yeah. In a way, you can stage the people by placement of the camera, for example.
Yeah. He was using the word staging actually. Yeah, like how
That
you
makes
can
sense.
stage, how you can make stage and make sure like then the elements are in certain ways that you can expect some things from them already. So already the choreography is in motion. Like it's the same idea with the handle. There already is implicit the motion in the handle, right? So then
Yeah.
if you think the stage, what are the installation stage, what are the how are those elements placed that already propose certain motion happen already?
Right. But it's hard to think about it with the like motion, like visualization, let's say, or I don't know what's the name you use it, but is that something you want the viewers, let's say the dancers, use this kind of visualization to do what? Like, is that something you want to? But then it becomes like a choreography that
Yeah, but
you're
that's
kind of
exactly
shaping the movement.
that's the thing. That's the thing exactly. Like, is it an artistic thing? Is it an artistic artifact? Then you go in that direction, and then or is it something that actually you want the people to utilize? And I think this is somehow how I see the installation that we made in
Right.
somehow this implicit affordance, or it has this, it's a tool because it's something that people can use. It's not a performance.
Yeah, but
uh,
it's a tool, but you kind of expect people to use it in a specific way. Not that we
because
are
also
forcing, but because we know
because
the
also,
practice. That's what we want to show.
yeah. But I think in this case, if we talk about like, because basically is this is about data visualization, and it's data visualization, but then is about like the mathematical representation of the body in space, right?
Right.
And then is, yeah, there's a question.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I would
I
say
think
like first question is like, is that something like is affordance something to think about or not? Or is it, if it's not, then but
what is
then
it, what
you
was it
have to
again?
have like, is the affordance the right word? Because that implies that you want the users to see it, use it in a specific way. But then if it's, but you can see it in a different way. Like you can still keep it open while you just give it like a hint, like some guide to use the visualization in different ways. But if it
Yeah,
just tells you that okay, the point was circling like this as a circle, then there's not much that you can learn from it. I don't know if that's the right word. I don't know.
What I think is important is like to do like two things. One is like practical thing and the technical thing, which is basically what I'm spending most of my time. But you need the reflection. You need the reflection, otherwise, like you need to know. You need to think, what are you doing?
What and
Because
why?
otherwise, yeah, and why? I mean, it's just basically, yeah, to reflect in different ways. That's why for me was I really want to talk. I need to talk because I don't know with so many things at the same time, like from coming from different places. One of the other things that I think is very interesting somehow, and I think that for me, but also for us to think as a tool or as a something that affords something to be something else, is like when we think in these problems of data representation, of emotion capture. I think it has to deal a lot with or few of the examples that you will find in the internet are about topography. I mean, like the study of, yeah, topography. I think is how topography is the visual representation of the earth somehow. I think somehow. So cartography deals with this, and you won't think of topography as a 2D space, but you always think in a 3D space.
Yeah.
And then you have these examples very often of like waves. Then you put it. That's what in a way what I was trying to build is like to have like a two-dimensional audio spectrum, and then after having some audio spectrum, put it in a 3D space, and then expand it, and then create something that it has volumetric feeling coming from a 2D like, and now the analysis will be just in X and Y position doing audio sampling. And so, yeah, so this idea of like, so putting, there are a lot of these examples about, it has to deal with topography and with three-dimensional space. And there should be something there. I don't know exactly what, but there should be something there about
yeah. I don't know what to say about the topography, but I like what you said about showing 3D, I don't know, like representation through the 2D map, 2D space. Basically, you draw something to represent 3D, which I think is quite interesting, and maybe it's relevant because you're not adding so many things, like more and more things to show. Like you're not using 3D to show 2D, but you're using 2D flat surface to visualize what's, where the mountain is and stuff like that, that you cannot, that's supposed to be 3D, but you're showing it in 2D, which is interesting.
I think this is a nice comment, because I was thinking, for instance, like one of the ideas I thought is like to have just a balance. I saw it also for some examples on the internet, like to have then kind of bars, like these bars that you will think like, so then we have just the X, Y, and Z position, 3 bars just moving up and down, and then applying kind of the same approach, like in real time, these ones, maybe next to it, in time, doing the whole time, what is the average, but that's for reason, like that's a really simple approach that then kind of like I'm questioning, like, oh, is this enough? Because then I start thinking maybe you have to do more particle systems, or more this kind of particles and particles of particles kind of things. But since the goal, I mean, since the dance and the goal is not to create a 3D beautiful something, but is to create something that can be understood somehow.
Yeah,
it has to be able to yeah.
Now I feel like I have to like make kind of a collection database of all these visualization projects.
Which one?
Like just collect all these things I know and like map it out. I mean, like just as a list. I want to make a list now. So maybe I spend next 1 hour to do that. And send
Like to
it to you.
visualize your projects.
No, like the visualization projects, like the projects that deal with visualization of body or motion tracking.
Oh yeah, at least do it, and then like
Yeah.
to create like a list of all of these
Yeah.
projects.
Yeah.
Yes, do it, and please share it.
Yeah. I just keep it for myself. No. Yeah. I wanted to say like go through the trackable qualities as
Please.
finishing the chat.
Yeah.
So I'll just, or do you have other things to say? Because I thought
No. I think.
Yeah. Then thanks for watching. I just say go through and then I'll just close the video. So thank you for watching. I wanted to say that. I wanted to say this thing because we haven't done the public chat for some time, I think so.
And practices like from next coming 2 weeks, we will start doing practice.
Yes, we'll practice again. So
and I will see Flor soon also. I'm really happy to see Flor.
I will see Flor soon.
You will see Flor sooner. Nice. Okay.
Exactly.
Good.
Okay. So trackable qualities. Center of mass, bounding box, kinetic sphere, reach, circularity, linear quality of form, linear quality of movement, level, travel intensity, openness, stance, contact area, balance sturdiness, negative space, avoided space, texture of movement, gaze, parallelism, joint angles, initiation of movement, degree of interruption, groove, alignments. That's it. I'll send it to you. I'll put the link in the video as well.
Yes. Put the link and please send it to me also.
Yeah, I'll do. Bye.
Very cool.